Let me try my best to explain how this card works. Let's touch on the easy part of this card with linked abilities. Whenever something has multiple abilities on it and some of those abilities refer to the other ones, then those abilities are linked to each other. We know that Ko is a linked ability because we have multiple abilities on this card that wants to exile a card. Then we have other abilities on this card that will try to reference things exiled by it. When it's talking about those exiled cards, it's talking directly about cards exiled by the triggered abilities on this card, not by anything else. So if we had Ko gain the abilities of Dark Imposter and then activated this ability is not linked with the other abilities of Ko, then the creature that was exiled by this is not in the pool of options for Ko to be able to copy. So basically the only way that Ko can reference those exiled cards is from the triggers from his own card. But if there are additional triggers of that linked ability or copies of that linked ability, those are still linked with Ko. So using something like Roaming Throne to trigger Ko an additional time, that additional trigger will also still be linked with Ko and will be something that Ko can reference. Okay, so that was the easy part. Let's talk about once per turn. Now, even if we do this the right way, by exiling this with Ko's own linked ability, you can only ever activate this ability once with Ko. So I could not pay 1 life, choose VV, activate that VV ability, and then pay 1 life, choose VV again, and refresh that ability. Ko will always be drawing from that same source of that ability that you've already activated once a turn. Even if you swapped different creatures in between, you can still not activate that ability if you already activated that ability this turn. Now, the reason for this is a little bit frustrating because there isn't really a comprehensive rules backing for this. Famous example of this in the past is with the card Nadu Winged Wisdom, where it raised the question about the fungibility of abilities. Basically, the question of when a creature loses and then regains an ability, is it the same exact ability or is it a new instance? So we've got a few answers from a former rules manager, which this is not anything official, but they used to literally make the rules for the game, so their knowledge for this stuff is going to be pretty good. For what it's worth, I do agree with them. Here's where it gets a little confusing, because Quicksilver Elemental gaining an ability from VV or Natir does give it a new instance of gaining that ability. So each time it's gaining that ability, it gains a new ability that it could activate. Now, I'm sure what most people will say is that the difference is that Ko has all of the abilities and Quicksilver Elemental gains all abilities. But I thought those two words meant the same thing, because anytime something says the word gains or has, they both have to deal with changes on abilities on the layers. But after a long discussion on this, here's where I came to understand it. Even though the word has, have, or gains all deal with granting an ability to an object, the way that each of those things do it is different. Basically, the way that I try to understand it is the ownership of the abilities. Has have the creature owning that ability, whereas gains has that creature being given the ability. Now again, this is all just my own interpretation. This is just me trying to make sense of how this all works. I'm not even a judge, so like take everything I say with a grain of salt. But like I'm a little bit shocked that even in the release notes that they don't have any more clarifications on this kind of thing, especially with a card like this that does it so easily. So what I'm really hoping for is that when they drop the update for the comprehensive rules next week, that we get some more clarity on this whole interaction.